Ashley, here's some food for thought about Minnesota agriculture. About half of the land in Minnesota is used to grow food. The history of farming in Minnesota is a story of transitions and new inventions. It began with backbreaking labor as settlers moved to a new frontier in the 1800s. Using hand tools and hand labor, farmers cleared trees, tilled the soil, and planted grain, hay, and gardens. By 1860, there were 15,000 farms in Minnesota. In 1890, that number had grown to more than 117,000, and it reached 197,000 by 1940. In the late 1800s, crude mechanical equipment pulled by horses and oxen, and sometimes by steam engines, was used to cultivate the soil and help cover more acres. As farms grew in size, animals were raised to produce eggs, meat, and milk. Wheat was the primary crop in Minnesota, and Minneapolis was the flour milling capital of the U.S. During and after the Great Depression of the 1930s, mechanical planters and harvesters arrived, pulled by tractors with gasoline engines. A farmer and his family could plant and harvest more acres and have crops to sell for additional income. By the mid-1900s, grain companies began exporting wheat and corn from terminals on the Mississippi River and in Duluth on Lake Superior. Farm productivity grew rapidly following World War II. Minnesota became a leading producer of turkeys, milk, pork, and beef. We also ranked high in corn, soybeans, wheat, oats, and sugar beet production. The equipment to raise and produce farm products continued to grow, and so did the size of our farms. In the early 1900s, farms were usually 40 acres or less. By the late 1900s, the average size was more than 350 acres. Now, early in the 21st century, technology has a huge impact on Minnesota farms and our food production. Cows are fed by mechanical equipment and can be milked with robotic milkers. Hogs and poultry are raised in climate-controlled buildings that improve feed efficiency and provide excellent animal comfort. Machinery continues to grow in size and use new technology. Tractors, as well as harvesting and spraying equipment, can use GPS signals for hands-free steering. GPS mapping determines the type of soils and fertility in our fields. Fertilizer is applied with huge applicators controlled by an onboard computer that uses those same maps. Nutrients are applied to match soil fertility requirements needed by various crops. Precision tools are also used on harvesters to map fields and measure the quantity of grain removed during harvest. Precision farming as we know it today helps produce better yields with more accurate fertilizer and crop chemical applications. That's better for the land, better for the people who live here, and better for those who use what's grown here. Scientific advances in crop genetics have improved corn yields from less than 40 bushels an acre 70 years ago to more than 165 bushels an acre in 2010. A Minnesota farmer now produces enough food to feed 155 people for a year. Science and agriculture promise even more exciting changes in the years ahead. Because of our diverse soil and geography, Minnesota farmers will continue to be a leading source of food, fiber, and fuel.